Hi. Hi, guys. Hi, Landis. Help. I can't get my camera to work on Facebook. And everything's got permission. Hey, Mary Jane. We're doing this a little bit differently tonight, guys. I am up here at my desk. And I keep looking away at my computer because I have some stuff pulled up on my computer. Good evening, Kevin. Yes, it is very weird, Landis. It wouldn't even let me do a video chat with Alexis earlier today. My camera wasn't working. Any suggestions for me? Because I'd like to be able to do screen share with you guys. So far there's a couple people on here. Hi, Heather. I've been able to use it during our meetings. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of talking to Landis for a moment. Landis is my techie guru, whatever you want to call her. Well, no, because I'm using my phone, so I'll go ahead and restart. Try that, shut everything down, and restart. Okay, so, let's see here. For those of you that joined us last week, oh, no, I hope my OneDrive is on. That's why I sent the links to you, Landis. So anyways, kind of doing it a little bit differently tonight because I do not have any eggs to candle, you guys. I have not seen an ounce of breeding, so I am not turning my incubators back on, or my incubator back on yet. So we're doing this a little bit differently. I am up here in my office / room, at my desk. The reason for that is because I wanted to be able to share some things with you guys. Oh, I've got eggs, Landis. Just, I doubt anything is in there yet. So anyways, I wanted to be able to share some documents and some links and things like that. Make sure I had the most accurate information for you guys. For those of you that missed last week was a little bit different as well. We just kind of talked about incubation techniques. You know, I wonder if it has an update to do. So anyways, did it a little bit differently last week because I didn't have anything to candle. They were all duds. Everything was duds from the week before. So we just kind of did a bunch of Q&A. We did, that could be. So anyways, we did that. Yep. Probably. But anyways, one of the things that was really brought up about was humidity and how humidity affects the air cell growth, how humidity varies, how to know that you are getting the right humidities, you know, humidity levels, etc. like that. I am just going to double check here. Okay, so I'm now up to date. I'm going to restart my computer again. But anyways, one of the things that we kind of decided is that this week we were going to focus on humidity and how much humidity plays a part when it comes to the incubation process, along with hatching. So Landis did, oh, I didn't want to do that. So Landis did some additional research for me. As soon as I get my computer fired back up here, I will go ahead and get everything logged in here real quick and pull her stuff up along with the stuff that I had pulled up. Now, a lot of us have referred to Pete's Guide to Hatching. Pete's Guide to Hatching does touch a little bit on the humidity levels. But between Landis and I, we found Landis, you sent that to me in Messenger, right? But anyways, we found, there we go. We found that a lot of people are using the Pete's Guide to Hatching. And there's been a lot of questions raised about the humidity levels. One of the biggest things, I know I said that weird, but one of the biggest things to keep in mind is that when you are doing any type of incubation, all the factors that can come into it, to where, say, right here, right now, my conditions, my incubator, my location, my temperature, even right down to my elevation, because I am a little bit higher than my neighbor. I'm closer to my swamp. Is that going to affect my humidity levels? I'm not sure. My neighbor on each side of me could have the same exact setup. Same numbers running. Same incubators. Same everything. And there could be huge variables in the amount of humidity level and hatchability that they have, just because of the differences within that little bubble that you are in when you are incubating. So there's so many different factors that go into that. Another factor of the incubation process, and we can maybe touch on that the next time, is the health of your birds prior to, sorry, I've got my phone on the charger. The health of your birds and nutrition of your birds prior to breeding season. So, what I want to start off with right at first is I'd like to go ahead and fire off a couple questions. Why I pull this stuff up. So go ahead and ask a few questions, you guys, or else otherwise I'm just going to sit here and babble on. And I know everybody has questions. So, one of the biggest questions is, what humidity percentage? Well, again, that's going to differ. And I read it here. On one of these. I've got like 3 documents in front of my face right now. So, you know, some people do, well, let's talk the difference between dry incubation and wet incubation. Dry incubation is not adding any artificial humidity to it. Such as your incubators, you don't add any water to it. There are a lot of articles out there that do suggest somewhere between 55 and 65% for the incubation, and then 70 to 75% for the lockdown. Now, I personally run the dry incubation method. See, and that number varies as well, Landis, because it should, for incubation days 1 through 25, correct. But that number can even vary as well. I've seen upwards to day 32. So, are you still locking down at day 28? Myself, I stop churning, but I don't do anything to my humidity until I start to see that internal, external pipping. I don't usually do anything until external pip. And so how the humidity levels work, and I'm reading this here, guys. So an increase of the humidity in the air cell / weight are showing that you're losing moisture too fast. So if your air cells are growing too fast, and this is why I wanted to do, you know what, I'm just going to post comments. I should be able to post comment photo. I don't know. But if your air cells are growing too large, then increase your humidity level. So say your air cell is in the 2nd week showing where it should be in the 3rd week. No, I cannot post a picture. But anyways, if your air cell is too large, say like on week 2, then increase your humidity. That will slow down the growth of that air cell. And that's true, Amy. Yeah. We don't know what she'll do when, we don't know what she's doing in the nest. We're only trying to mimic what we learn. So also on the flip side of your air cell too big, if your air cells are too small, then you decrease your humidity. So the higher the air cell, or the higher the humidity, it's going to grow the air cell too large. The slower the humidity, it's going to slow down that process. Am I reading that right? Increased humidity if the air cell's weight are showing that you're losing moisture too fast. Decreased humidity if the air cell's weight are showing that you're losing moisture too slow. Yeah. No, there's going to be more than just a post on this. There will be something up on the website by the end of the week about this. So now one of the things that Pete and these other guys are going by is a lot of them are weighing their eggs. As experience goes, I don't necessarily weigh my eggs, but there is actually a mathematical formula to be able to calculate how much weight your egg is losing, and that will tell you whether or not to increase or decrease your humidity, because the bigger the air cell, the less it's going to weigh. So, per what Pete says, and I'm sorry, my allergies are bonkers. It was really nice today. I'm having a lot of drainage and my throat's really sore. So anyways, what Pete says is that it appears that geese, and in particular dewlap Toulouse, appear to lay eggs which can often prove difficult to hatch due to inadequate weight loss. Eggs laid early in this season prove especially difficult, and this may be linked to shell structure, thickness, and to the local weather. Now, he also goes on to say that all eggs need to achieve a weight loss during incubation of around 15 to 16%. Anybody that's good with math, I'm sure you can figure it out. Why I find what the mathematical equation is for that. He's got it on here somewhere. And so the weight loss has a dual effect on the egg. Okay, so weight loss affects two different things within the egg. The embryo's health is optimized as its body does not carry excess fluid, which can lead to heart failure and edema, which is swelling of the body tissues. I have seen, and I've even had it happen, it's horrible, it sucks, that I've gotten my humidity up too far, even right at lockdown. And it's called, the term that they use for it is a water baby. Like, honestly and truthfully, the head and the neck is what swells the most. And there's just a lot of fluid around it. A lot of fluid. So often the chicks develop up to hatching but fail to internally pip. This is one reason that I always suggest to everybody that if your eggs are not hatching, somehow, some way, as gruesome as it may be, sometimes it's gruesome, you guys, and you don't know what you're going to find, to do what I call an eggtopsy. If you have a lot of fluid in there, then that's going to tell you that you had too much humidity. And the next batch, you need to lower your humidity. It would be increase your humidity. Wait. Yeah. If you have a lot of fluid within the egg, you would want to decrease your humidity. And also, too, it's kind of tricky. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. Obviously, I can't walk, talk, and chew gum. If anybody of you have met me, squirrel. But anyways, he goes on to say that often the chicks develop up to hatching, but fail to internally pip. And then, secondly, the weight loss has a direct effect on the structure of the egg, and the results in gradual enlargement of the air cell. By the time the chick is ready to internally pip, the air cell is of sufficient size that it lies adjacent to the chick's beak and has sufficient oxygen to meet the chick's initial needs, while it establishes pulmonary respiration. So you can tell a lot if you're able to do an eggtopsy. Sometimes it can be a flaw. Sometimes it can be a malformation. But sometimes you just have to be prepared for that. I did actually do an event last year where I did a couple ectopsies, and they were pretty gruesome. You can even tell if you have some type of bacteria, because bacteria can affect whether or not your eggs develop appropriately. So anyways, according to the Brunisa website, low humidity can cause the egg to lose too much weight, creating larger airspace. Large airspace creates a smaller than normal chick. Smaller chicks can be weaker and unable to hatch. And low humidity is typically less of a problem. High humidity restricts the weight loss, creates smaller air cells than normal, and the chick will be larger. Small airspace can affect respiration, and it makes it difficult for the chick to move around and break out of the shell because they don't have that airspace. Chicks that pip in a shell that hasn't lost enough weight that they can die due to weakness from lack of air, or because they cannot maneuver to break out the rest of the way. I have had extremely large goslings that have gotten themselves all catty-wampered up, just all twisted up, because I have had smaller air cells. And where was it that Pete said something here? I read it. I read it somewhere. Oh, okay. Incubation practices. Wait, hold on. The main cause of failure is that the owner has not considered their eggs as individual or accounted for local humidity levels. An increased success rate is usually obtained when these issues are addressed. It appears that there are 6 key areas for the owner to address before hatch rates improve. Okay? So when basically what he's saying is that if you've been doing this and doing this and doing this and using the same method over and over and over again, and you're still not getting good success, then that's when you need to step back and start from the beginning. The beginning starts with egg quality and viability, which goes back to the nutrition of your breeding stock. Egg marking, weighing, and storage, stable incubation conditions, an adequate churning program, monitoring and adjustment as needed. Don't be afraid to adjust those humidity levels throughout the incubation. And then your lockdown. And there's a whole article on here. I can post it in the comments. And there will be more information on this. I am sure that Landis and anybody that knows where I'm at can really understand where my brain is going with this one. So let's talk about weighing the eggs. What's the importance of the weighing? The importance of weighing, and those of us that have years of experience, I mean, it's been 13 years now since I started helping my mom. So I do a lot just by eyeballing it. I've said that before. So the weight loss has dual, effect on the egg. I should highlight this. So when you first collect the egg, which we touched on this last week. Yeah, the summaries. Yeah, we touched on this last week. Weigh your egg and check your egg for any issues. Loose air cell, cracks. I found that one that had that hole. I never would have noticed that hole had I not candled it. There's a diagram that can show approximately what your air cells should be looking like. There's even some photos that Pete has done too. Let's see here. Raising and lowering of the humidity depends on two things. The first is water surface area. Depth of water does not affect humidity, although deeper water takes longer to evaporate completely. It really depends on how much surface area there is. So say you've got a little dish like this of water. Think about your lakes and oceans and the sizes and things like that. You got a little dish like this of water that could potentially evaporate. You know, we'll use this for an example. This pill bottle will evaporate a lot quicker than what this one will. This monster can. That's a 16-ounce fluid can. So the more surface area as well. So when you're talking about the surface area, you're talking about like this big around compared to this big around. That's going to evaporate quicker also. The little wells within, like the tabletop incubators, I don't use them, so I don't have experience with those as to how often people are having to refill those. I do know that I have had a couple people tell me 2-3 times a day. I don't know who's got time for that. Yeah. Like Landis just said, consider this in the tabletop. You don't need to fill all of the channels. Most of them have good 3 channels running around them. With the cabinet incubators, a lot of them have a dish. A lot of them have like a little dish in it. And I found that my dish, it was too much all at once. So I took and covered it with saran wrap and poked holes in it. That gave me adequate humidity because at first I was getting too low of humidity. And you can't overfill because it spikes the humidity, but also have to be sensitive to it dropping drastically overnight. Right, when you're not watching. The second factor to the humidity is how much fresh air can get inside the incubator. A lot of them have the little holes for air exchange, along with, if all of those holes are plugged up, then first of all, you're not going to get good oxygenation. Second of all, it's kind of, I don't know, I feel that it's kind of controversial. And Landis, did you find anything on that? As far as like the air vents on them? I know my cabinet incubator has 2 in the back and 1 on each side. I keep the back ones open, but I've got the side ones covered with duct tape. So if you think about like a pot of water boiling, you cover it, there's going to be less steam coming out of it. Right. They come with plugs. I don't even know why they come with plugs. I don't know, maybe for different areas. I don't know. Landis said that everything that she read was to leave the air vents open. Landis just got a new cabinet incubator. It's actually a new brand. It's called Hatching Time. And she's checking it out too. To give us a little bit of a review on it, basically. Okay, so where'd that go? Let's jump back here. We kind of went into like stable incubation conditions. So keeping it consistent in there inside the incubator is, you know, what you want to achieve. The weighing of the eggs. So Pete goes to say that egg marking, weighing, and storage is the most critical area and it should be addressed as success may depend. So what he basically says is that when the egg is first laid, that's when you should be weighing it. That right off the bat. Because even if you store them for a week or so, they're going to start having some of that evaporation because they're so porous. So you want to weigh them. If you want to really get a good idea of what your humidity levels should be, start weighing your eggs. Just use a little kitchen scale. Get a bowl or something like that big enough, you know, put the bowl on it, zero it out, put the egg in it. Do that weekly and mark your air cells with a pencil when you're candling them. That'll all give you really good ideas. Stable incubation conditions, we kind of just touched on that. Right here, often people test run their incubators empty only to find the sightings are different once eggs are added. This is something to keep in mind, guys. However, be aware that the settings should be left alone over the first 24 hours as the eggs heat up and the incubator's thermostat begins to finally regulate the temperature. Once the eggs require stable incubation conditions, and embryos may be weakened by repetitive adjustments. If you're unsure of the temperature to select, then err on the low side. So he's got 99.1 with a humidity of 35 to 45%. But he's got ducks at 99.5 with a humidity of 55%. Now, mind you, something to keep in mind, Pete lived in the UK. So for anybody that's been over to the UK, they have a lot higher humidity levels. So let's talk about churning. Adequate churning is often overlooked. And yet the embryo's health and moisture loss can be linked indirectly to churning. Don't churn them for the first 24 hours. Switch on the auto churner. I think he did his last revision said like the first 3 days. For hand churning, the minimum would be 3 times a day, but 5 times a day is better. We don't always have the opportunity to do that. Odd numbers are for sure better, and to ensure each night that the opposite side of the egg is incubated upwards. So, this helps the nutrients and fluids within the whole egg to kind of basically be evened out. The first week, a sac develops from the embryo's navel area and rapidly grows as a vascular balloon. We've all seen that as far as the veining. Yep. Over the first weeks, the cryoallantotic membrane grows. That's that inner membrane that we all worry about. So it says, as the membrane and its blood vessels lie adjacent to the shell, it places the blood vessels in near contact with the pores of the eggshell. Therefore, this is what I was trying to say last week, guys. Gas and moisture exchange can occur easily, ridding the embryo of carbon dioxide and excess water molecules, and also absorbing oxygen for the growing chick needs. So, are there any questions before we get too far ahead, guys? Landis is the only one that's saying anything, so come on, hit me with some questions, guys. I'm watching too. Hopefully that will, Landis. I'm really excited to hear your reviews on your new incubator. Somebody's got to have a question. I feel like I'm just rambling. Stop listening and just ask, please. Anyways. Thanks, Mary Jane. Next season, right, Amy, we'll be here to help. So, eventually, yeah, the goose just seems to know. Some of them are idiots about it. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyways, so let's talk about the monitoring and the adjustment of the incubation process throughout the season. Or throughout the incubation. We've often performed daily candling, photographed the developing embryo, and weighed the eggs without any harm to the growing chick. I haven't ate yet today, guys. I've been awake for about 18 hours now, and I haven't ate yet. So, yeah, that could be some of my issue. And I kind of burnt my tongue because I did get dinner done just right before, and I took a bite, and yeah, it was just a little hot, just a little warm. So anyways, Landis. So anyways, hi, Judy. You've been weighing your eggs all along and doing the math. Now, you know what? I have an experiment for somebody. So, anybody out there that has a hen setting, would you be willing, a broody hen, to check, candle, and weigh and trace out your air cell for a broody hen and see what comes about? Let's see if we can get 3 people with broody hens to weigh the eggs, candle the eggs, do the same methods that we would be doing the same things besides the churning that we'd be doing. You will, Amy? Thank you. Keep track of that for us. And then we'll be in touch. Remind me. I get a little scatterbrain. I'm like one of those 3-wick candles burning at every end, and I'm just barely flickering. So, hold on. What's a good average starting humidity here in Michigan? Depends on where you're at. Heather, if you're in the UP, it's going to be way different. If you're up there by the bridge, it's going to be way different. Down here, I'm between Lansing and Jackson. I don't have a whole lot of water around me. So, I run dry incubation. If you're over at the thumb, if you're anywhere, this area on the outside, your humidity levels are probably going to be higher. Your relevant humidities. Hold on, I lost my comments. No, you better hatch those Dorian eggs, Landis. Don't even mess around with those. Do not even mess around with those. And the reason that I say that, guys, is Landis She got my one and only gray baby to hatch last year. I drove that little bugger all the way out to Arizona with me when I went out there. And she sent me pictures of him at what? 4 or 5 months old. I was about ready to turn around and drive another 18 hours there and 18 hours back by myself to steal him back. He is beautiful. So totally kicking myself in the butt. So I'm sorry, I'm going to say your name wrong. Talia, you're 5 minutes from the ocean. I have to dry hatch or they will have too much. Yep. And Heather being 20 minutes from one of the big lakes. So on the outside of Michigan. Or are you talking like one of the little inland lakes? Amy, go out and candle them. Tila. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. Okay, so you're going to have higher humidity. You'd probably want to do dry incubation as well. Which, for me, dry incubation, I like it anywhere between 25 and 30%. But again, that's where you can, you can do adjustments throughout an incubation process. And let's go ahead and touch on that real quick. North Carolina, they have high humidity. Yes, they do. Don't they, Landis? So, so let's talk about the monitoring and adjustment. You wash what? Okay, monitoring and adjustment, guys. We're getting sidetracked. Which is fine. I don't care. I just want to make sure that we cover all this. So anyways, so you weigh your egg right off the bat. You check the air cell. You mark the air cell. And by marking the air cell, you're just going to take a little pencil. Don't use markers, guys. They're so hard to see. And I was told not to use markers because the ink can bleed through. So anyways, when you're, oh, I wish I had brought an egg up. We're going back to the pill bottle. So you got your air cell here, or your egg, you're candling it. Just take a pencil and just lightly trace around it. And we'll put pictures up. I don't know if you can double task there, Landis, but maybe you can get pictures up real quick. Excuse me, pencils, yes, they wear off. I use crayon or colored pencils because they got that waxy base to them, and they typically stay all day, or the whole entire everything. I'll use black, blues, browns, and reds. But the Crayola crayons, the twist up ones, work great. In the cabinet baiter, do you use the goose egg trays or do you lay them on their sides? So, depends on what brand you have. What brand of cabinet incubator you have. It is best to lay them on their sides. The goose egg trays, I don't even know why. But they have inserts for the cabinet incubators, the GQF, yep. Go back and look at one of the other, which one was it? Mary Jane, you were asking. So was it the first video or the second video that you were asking about, the little V things that I had? on my trays. But I can show you. I will send you a message through Facebook and show you, and you can even probably create your own. But I think it was the first video that I did. So we did one last week, the week before, that I showed what the little, it's like a little V thing, and the egg lays down in it like that. GQFs are great. Okay, so we, weigh, mark, record first week, each week. We start after 1 week. Okay, then week 1, 2, and 3. And then 4 of weighing, marking, etc. like that. Did you do the hardware cloth, Mary Jane? So if you made one with waterproof plywood, the problem with the plywood is it may not allow the air to circulate around the egg very well. Mary Jane, can you send me a picture of that by chance? And then that way we can put it on our little DIY type thing. Maybe we need a section of DIY. Landis, remind me of that one, please. Notes. Thank you. So back to the monitoring and adjustment. After, let's see here. I lost my spot. After 1/3 of the incubation period, it should have lost 5% of the weight. Anybody that wants to do the math on that. We'll say day 28. What's 1/3 of 28 days? After 2/3 of the incubation, should lose 10%. And overall, the egg should be on course to lose the required 16% by hatching. Not a problem. Thank you, Mary Jane. So who's anybody a math guru and want to do that for us? Should have known, Landis. Should have known. So the important rule here is that almost all bird eggs need to lose 16% of their weight through moisture loss to produce a healthy hatchling. Oh, is there? I'll have to check that out. We've applied this to many species, including poultry, waterfowl, parrots, doves, rheas, soft-billed birds, etc. By weighing the egg, the owner can adjust the humidity to reach the target weight loss. Keep in mind the different sized eggs, the thick or thin-shelled eggs, the different species can all be incubated successfully at optimum conditions, which produces the target weight for the individual egg. Does that make sense, you guys? So, at least, I would say at least the first 2 to 3 years of your incubation, weigh your eggs. Track your eggs. Record your eggs. And, even humidity levels, think about it. Those of us that are in Michigan, we'll post the information, hon. We'll make a post about it. So, whether it be up on the website or whether it be on a post here or whatever, but we'll get the information over. But for those of us in Michigan, we know the differences on the humidities. And think about when storms are brewing, humidity changes. Do we need to worry about tweaking it then? Maybe. I could come up with an issue being in my basement of my humidity levels. I used to have my incubator in my bedroom, and I ran an air conditioner in my bedroom 24/7. Oh, I did not see a link Did not see a link from you, hon. Send it through Messenger, and we'll add it to our DIY listing or list, okay? So that helped to keep my humidity levels, at different percentages. Judy, I know you're on. Judy has her incubators in her basement. She consistently is fighting with her humidity level. Yup, that was my other thing, is we would run a fireplace to help offset the cost of the natural gas. Because, God knows the electric bill's high enough when you start running brooder boxes, incubators, heat lamps, heated water buckets, etc. like that. So that would suck the humidity out of the air too. For anybody that heats with wood, you know what I'm talking about the dryness. When I was a kid, we used to have these big, huge wood stoves. One down in the basement that we heated one with, and one in the dining room. We rarely ever used the dining room. And so when we did use it, though, was mainly when we had power outages, and then we'd all kind of just camp out in the dining room for weeks at a time. They weren't as fast to fix power back then. And Mom would always boil, set a big old pot of water, take her canning kettle, and set it on top. And the humidity would help warm up the air as well. Yeah. Or in your bathroom. Judy, can you comment anything as far as your humidity levels? Judy's in Pennsylvania. And like I said, her incubator's in her basement. And has a extremely hard time with humidity, but she's having really good hatches this year. Yeah, that is added to the list. Figure if if you're doing a load of laundry and that moisture from the washer can add humidity. Your dryer can add humidity. In your bathroom, you take a shower. What is that going to do to your humidity level? And Judith says here that she runs a humidifier 2 feet from her incubators. She has a hard time in the winter with the furnace running, because her furnace is in her basement also, getting my humidity above 23 to 25%. I have found if I add 5 cc daily, I can keep it close to 30%. So, and maybe that's something that I might have to invest in. That's where those automatic water for humidity can come in play, because it'll keep water in there, and it will add water if it senses that the humidity is too low. I know that there's people that do their own DIY things and stuff like that for that. Jennifer, what kind of incubator do you have, and where is it located in your house? While you're answering that, Jennifer, let's talk about the lockdown and humidity real quick. And then we're going to work on kind of wrapping up. So, I'm just going to read this basically word for word, you guys. Pete goes on to say, was there anything in lockdown on your information, Landis? See, you're running dehumidifiers. Judy in Pennsylvania with her incubator in her basement next to her furnace is having to run humidifiers. See how all that can take part in play. There is not one number across the board for any of this. Okay, so let's talk about the lockdown process. I'm just going to read this verbatim for what Pete has on here. We find this one of the most controversial topics of incubation, which appears to be often... Hold on, I gotta blow this out, guys. I guess it's time to have my eyes checked again. I just blew it up to 125% and I can read it finally. So, we find this one of the most controversial topics of incubation, which appears to be often used as a blanket approach to all eggs without consideration of, going back to that again, the individual eggs requirement. The term lockdown is usually used to describe the conditions required by eggs in the final phase of incubation. Popular opinion appears to suggest that the egg should not be churned and the humidity increased to around 70% from about 3 days before hatching is expected. Okay. Let that resonate for a second. All right. So, if you're bumping that humidity up to 70% and you have a small air cell, what is going to happen to that gosling, to that air cell? It talked about the small air cell and more fluid can cause respiratory issues, not exchanging, or the exchange of oxygen, carbon dioxide, growth, the water baby thing. So keep that all in mind here as we read on. Okay. We do not use the same method, Pete, as we believe a more flexible approach is required to account for variations within the eggs. If the owner has observed the development of the air cell during incubation, then at about 3 to 4 days before hatching is expected, the air cell suddenly enlarges and tends to dip down on one side. The air cell will actually kind of look like a C. And for anybody that's in that stage of the game, within that last week, getting close to lockdown, go back to some of the videos from last year. Start your way backwards from the end and work your way back. That'll give you an idea. So, where'd I leave off? Within a day, and remember, the dip down will be next to where the bill is to allow for optimum. Remember that was said earlier as well. At this point, the owner should stop churning and place the eggs in a position where the greater or largest amount of air cell is uppermost. So you want that largest portion of the air cell way up on top. So here's your egg. Right here is your air cell. It's going to kind of, I don't know how well you can, you know what? Hold on. I got this. Hold on. I got this. Can you guys see that? This is the air cell. This is the dip down that he's talking about. Here, I can click on it. I can't make it bigger. Oh, I just lost it. Not all of it. Okay. Where'd it go? Okay. Let me just do this. And so, whoa, that's really big. There. See how it kind of looks like a C? Right here. That gosling should hatch or start pipping somewhere right in this area here. If you see this, stop. Do not touch. Okay? Do not do anything except for make sure that this part of the air cell is facing up. So, I mean, this is not a gosling, but it's a rhea egg, but they all do the same. Okay? So, let's see here. Within a day, shadows can usually be seen entering the air cell as the chick maneuvers into the final hatching position. At this point, the owner should stop churning and place the eggs in a position where the greater amount of air cell is uppermost. Last year, I did quite a few videos, again, and we did catch some really good shadowing on a couple of them, okay? So start from the end and work your way back if you're getting close to that stage or at that stage. So the shadows will become even larger, and sometimes the outline of a beak can be seen in the air cell itself. And sometimes you'll hear just this, if you put your ear up to it, you can hear just this faintest little like ticking, or it almost sounds like, I don't know. Tell me if this makes noise, you guys. Can you guys hear that? And Barb explained that to me. It's not actually that they're tapping on the shell. It has something to do with their respirations and kind of preparing all of that. Because now they are in the air. They're in almost the outside world. So it has something to do with them learning how to breathe, because once they are through that membrane, they now have to breathe on their own. If anybody, knows anything about pregnancy or anything like that, it kind of works in the same mannerisms, I guess. But as soon as that amniotic sac is broke, or your water breaks, that's when they have to make sure that baby is on its way out so that it can breathe adequately, right? Same theory here. Okay. So, right here, it just says here, by now the chick should have pierced the membrane of the air cell and have begun breathing, which can be confirmed by holding the broad end of the egg to the ear and listening for a faint rhythmic clicking noises. At the same time, weighing of the egg should also confirm that the target weight loss has been achieved. So here, Pete is saying, weigh those eggs. Do it quickly, but weigh those eggs. If the egg has lost the required amount of weight, then humidity can be raised to around 70% in anticipation of external pipping over the next 12 to 24-hour periods. For eggs which have lost 13% or less, we do not increase the humidity as we try to achieve the highest moisture loss possible. Only when these eggs externally pip do we enter lockdown. That's what Pete followed. And that's pretty much about what I follow as well. And honestly, rereading this again, because it's been years since I've read this stuff. Years. It almost makes me wonder if I shouldn't have like one incubator that's already set at a higher humidity. And then once I see this external pip like this, here I'll show you. Once I see an external pip like that I move it over instead of trying to bounce around with the humidities. So this right here, that's the air cell tracing. and that is the bill. And if you hear chirping, like a weep, 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 most definitely just move them into lockdown. Do it. It's going to happen. So the reason that they're delaying lockdown is really just common sense. If an egg has lost insufficient moisture 3 days before it's due to hatch, there can be no benefit in increasing the incubator's humidity, which will only slow down or stop further moisture loss. The eggshell has yet to be breached by the chick's beak, and conditions remain the same internally. Keep that in mind. Let's read that again. The eggshell has yet to be breached by the chick's beak, and conditions remain the same internally. There appears to be no benefit to the chick by increasing humidity when it is simply not required. So then he goes on to talk about once it's, breached the cell, the chick's blood system, hold on. Raising the humidity before this time only justifies if the egg has lost too much weight and further moisture loss needs to be prevented. If it is worth considering that many late deaths occur before internal pipping due to insufficient moisture loss. The chick's blood system is overloaded with fluid and causes swelling of the body's soft tissues as the heart fails due to its increased workload. The chick is simply too congested and weakened to undergo the stressors of the hatching process. If these eggs are later examined, then often appear shrink-wrapped, but even eggs that are opened with live chicks appear that way, as the membrane follows the contours of the chick. As a good rule of thumb, small, sticky chicks have usually lost too much moisture, whereas large, bulky chicks that are wet have usually lost insufficient moisture. So there is a thing about sticky chicks. And I've said this before as far as the sticky. Basically that inside membrane is like just stuck to them. They're not shrink wrapped. It is different than being shrink wrapped. Let's see if Pete goes on to explain that a little bit more in depth. So here's something interesting. Pete has a picture up here. The area is assisted and the slit made on internal pipping can be seen in the membrane. Okay. See the little hole in the membrane there? The egg was taped. He taped the egg up and hatched 24 hours later. He goes on to say that in summary, it can be seen the hatching success can be increased by sound preparation before incubation commences. One of the useful and best scientific tools available to hatch or to aid in hatching is a set of scales. By measuring and monitoring the rate of weight loss from an egg, the owner can adjust the incubation parameters to suit their environmental conditions, their incubator, and individual egg. And then he goes on, to show pictures of a gold macaw and a gosling that hatched together. Both eggs lost 16% weight and were incubated in the same incubator, which I've always heard that was a big no-no, but in some aspects, each to their own. Even a tortoise egg shows shadowing of the air cell and the principles of incubation applied. So there is that. I mean, it might be a little long-winded, do not get me wrong. I have a hard time reading it because I'm just like, okay, bullet points. Just give me bullet points, please. But it is really good information. Landis's notes on the research that she did does bullet point a lot of these things that we talked to, whereas Pete just goes way into depth about it. Some may like it, some may not like it. There's another article that he did. There's another article that he did. That goes on a little bit more. And even some chit chat about it. And where I'm getting this information, you guys, is I'm getting it through, which some of you do, some of you don't. If you go through, which I need to add more links to that, I guess. And we're trying to put some things in the works. I don't want to say too much right now. But anyways, it is a very old school forum. Like, you remember way back Yahoo forums, or like the AOL forums where you had threads, topics, and then threads, and then had to wait for the person to reply. You couldn't see when they were typing, etc. like that. It is a very old school forum that was created by one of the staples in the Sebastopol community, Vicki Thompson, or some of you know the name Cottage Rose. She created this forum, and you guys, it has a plethora of information. I mean, just the amount of information, okay? Yeah, bullet points. Yep. We don't, I will post the links on the website, and then we can come up with like a short version of this. Or, I know Landis is busy. If there is anybody else that would, well, this isn't on the guide to incubation. This is a totally, completely different thread. But real quick, the forum is called Sebastopol Geese Lovers Forum. It is through Tap a Talk. TAPATALK. Sebastopol Goose Lovers Forum. There is a link on the website. I can move it to where it's a little bit more noticeable. Yep. So anyways, where I was going with that is, we're all busy lives, and many hands make light work. If there's anybody else that would like to research some of Pete's articles and, get them down for us, I might be stepping on some toes here, but I'm just going to say we could use the assistance. We could, if anybody does, is really good with, like, papers, research, articles, etc. like that, we could most certainly use the assistance. Am I right, Landis? Again, many hands make light work. So if you have any, if you guys have any thoughts on wanting to volunteer anytime to help get a lot of this information out there, you guys, there's so much information. There's so many Facebook pages. There are so many questions and answers and opinions. And yeah, it can blow your mind. But this guy here, Pete, he's called Pete 55 on the forum, or Peter Banks. We have no idea what happened to him. He just literally fell off the face of the earth. Nobody knows anything except for he was a UK geneticist. Him and his person, I have a feeling it was his person, worked together on so many things. And he did all this research for us, you guys. He did it all for us. That would be awesome, Tammy. Do you incubate or do you let your geese go broody? And thank you, Amy. That would be fantastic. I just lost it. But yeah, there's so much out there, you guys. And literally, it's laid out right here. Laid out right here. So, Jennifer, I do greatly appreciate any information or whatever. And, you know, sometimes doing the research can help build your knowledge bank to where you're more prepared. So, how do you keep track of it all, Tammy? Teach me, please. I'm horrible at keeping track of it. Aren't I, Landis? So, okay, so what is next topic that we should talk about for, it can be incubation, it can be, I mean, we've pretty much gone through the incubation. It doesn't say anything about cooling and misting, but I can find it. Hold on, let's see here. Oh, where'd my mouse go? Hold on. Let me see if I can find anything. And right, Jennifer. Right. Cooling and misting. Okay, let me go back here. Yep, I know, but I just want to see if there's anything more on that. Oh, aren't you lucky, Tammy? Thank you. Is it Teresa? Did I say that right? Are your girls broody or are you incubating? Hold on. It was asked. Let's see. Hold on. I'll see what I can find on the cooling and misting. The legitimacy of it. Is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know. For those of you that know me, I suck at English. And so let me see. Timeline. He's got a whole thing on here about the Bernisa, you guys. 190 OVA Easy Advance X Series 2. I'll see what I can find. Yeah, we'll get back to that. Judy, message me. Keep me on task with that one, okay? Every year, the first week absolutely ruins me and I feel like a failure. But then when the rhythm and the fertility goes up, I feel so much better. That's true. That's true. The first couple of rounds of incubation, it's like it goes in a big wave, don't it? It's like it starts out really kind of just, and then it goes up, and then it just kind of drops back down. So, yeah, that's why I'm not sweating it, and it really sucks. I mean, you guys want to talk about really sucks. By now, I've got incubators in full force, and, you know, though, well, hold on, let me finish that thought. My earliest hatches have been March, the beginning of March. And no, I take that back. December. Christmas babies. And, my latest being 4th of July. So, with that being said, minus last year, for the last 3 years, I've hatched 40 some odd goslings. And last year I hatched a whole whopping 10. 10. AIing them? I've thought about it. I don't know if I want to get my hands that dirty, though. I've gotten them that dirty. Vent sexing. And I didn't know that I was until I figured it out. So, I mean, I've thought about it, but I don't know. I've got friends that could show me how to do it. I don't know if they've ever done it. They do it with a lot of their birds. So, well, if Dorian's anything like his granddaddy, Landis is talking about her Dorian, and Dorian is from my gray lines. So, with that being said, his granddaddy, his first year, okay, he had 4 girls underneath him with, oh my goodness, I think he had way over 75% fertility. He was doing his job. They can become boys real easy, can't they? Surprise! Landis AI. Oh my gosh. For AI, put your mind in the gutter for a moment. I doubt they would appreciate it, but I mean, it has been in the back of my head before, so with that being said, guys, I'm gonna do a little plug in here, okay? So I've gotten quite a bit of updates done on the website. I don't know who's been to visit the website anytime soon or lately, but okay, done some updates. Education. Here's the YouTube video link. Here's the hatching. I'll get somewhere in here. We'll get this stuff in there. Whoop, sorry, that we talked about tonight. Okay, somewhere. But the biggest thing that has been updated is this tab right here. You guys. Breeders. Okay. Just since Thursday, I think Thursday, I have added 4 no, 5 people to the breeders list. Landis, I still have you to do, I know. I've added 5 people to the breeders listings. We still have a lot of states that need to be covered, you guys. You click, we'll go, I want to say right here has the most, so we'll go right here. And actually it's Michigan. So you go here, and it gives you list of list of breeders. I'll go to, let's see here. Mary Jane, we'll go to yours. It's got the contact information, what they have available, how they transport, types of payments if they want, and their contact information. See? Ta-da! There you are. Yes, the breeders listings are under a premium membership. So right here. But this is how we're going to get away from the spammers, you guys. From all the junk. The spammers and scammers, or what, I don't know. What do you even want to call them? Crappy people? So it's under the premium membership. You can do either an individual or a family. It's that easy, guys. Fill this in, and I can even help you come up with some type of something. I did that for Aaron. I did that for myself. Let me see here. Northeast. Dirtbags? Yeah. I did that one. I did Judy's for her. Oh, wait. Midwest. We've got a cup. We've got Missouri. I've got hers done. I'm just waiting for it. I've got hers done. So, yeah. Help us to help you guys, everybody. Because there's so much out there getting scammed. This gives you direct contact to people. Now, I do want to just mention, love you, Landis. Will do. I just want to mention that we do not endorse anybody. We do not guarantee anybody. Each to their own. Okay? Just, even still, with this being said, do your research of the birds. Do your research for the person. You know, some people are still just crappy people. So, anyways, you know, just saying. Just reach out and ask. There's many of us. I can't fill my list here in Oregon. Last year hatched 9 and had to tell people that I wasn't going to have any more that year. But I am adding a girl from Aaron. So don't do a list. It's easy as that. I've never done a list. I can't predict what I'm going to hatch. And I'm not going to be like some and having a list go on for 3-4 years. No. First come, first serve. First come, first serve. I don't even play around. And if, you know, anybody's in my area, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, whatever, shoot, maybe even out to Judy. Judy's only like 5 hours from me. I may help with transport as well. For the right price. And as long as I don't break my foot like I did last year. So. right. Landis, I'm not doing that. I'm not. I got enough crap in my life to keep track of. I'm not doing that either. So, all right, guys. With that being said, I've said my piece. We've now been on for about an hour and a half. I'm starving. I am famished. Just absolutely. I'm past hungry. Like, to the point where I could care if I eat or not. But I really need to eat, you guys. Because I really take horrible care of myself. So. I know, Landis. So, anyways, I am going to go eat. For those of you that have my number, you can call me, you can text me, whatever like that. I'll probably call you Judy. Landis, we'll catch up tomorrow. Love you guys. Thank you guys, everybody. Good night.